The Source is checking in with Niagara Falls MPP Wayne Gates. Welcome to the program, Wayne.
Hey, how are you, buddy?
I'm great, and you must be feeling good. We're moving to phase two. You were really upset last week, as most of us were, that Niagara was one of the communities left out of the move to phase two.
I'm not so sure upset's the right word. I think what I said very clearly is that I was more concerned that our acting medical doctor wasn't consulted. And all the way through this process, which has been very painful for the last 3 months for a lot of people, that we got to follow the advice of our chief medical officer, and we did that, and we did it extremely well. You know, we've crushed the curve here in Niagara, and then when a big decision like stage two, and it's a huge decision in Niagara because of, obviously we have the tourist sector, but we have a lot of small and medium-sized businesses here, whether it's barbershops or hairstylists, salons, small family-owned restaurants. Big decision. And how do you say that you're making your decision based with experts and then you don't consult the expert? So whether it was good news or bad news, they should have talked to our acting medical doctor last week. I think that he came out after and said that outside the greenhouse breakout, which was contained, our metrics, which we take into the hospital, how many are in the hospital, how many have COVID, how many are dying from COVID. Our metrics last week were very similar to what they are this week. And then obviously the government said the other reason was the border, and I informed the government that the border is closed. So that really wasn't the issue that they should have been raising at that time. So upset, no, what I was is I've been very clear that we've got to listen to experts. I am not a doctor. I'm not, can never be a doctor. I listen to the doctor, and even with my own health, I listened to my doctor. They should have listened to the expert. They chose not to, and that was the problem last week.
This move to phase two is extremely important for Niagara's businesses.
We got 40,000 jobs that are tied to not only the tourist sector, but small and medium-sized businesses. You look at our restaurants, our barbershops, our hair salons, a lot of them are locally owned. They're owned by local people. Our wine industry, our craft brewing industry, all those things have people that aren't working today. We have cooks and people that work in kitchens and doing all that stuff. A lot of jobs are tied to it. I will say on the craft brewing and the wine industry, it's nice that it's opening, but we have to get some help with getting our craft beer and our wines, our VQA wines, locally grown wines, into the LCBO with shelf space as well. That would certainly help the industry as well in Niagara Lake and all of the Niagara region.
A big part of your riding obviously borders the United States, and we're hearing now that the border is probably going to remain closed to tourists at least for another month or so. How negatively will that affect the tourism industry in the Niagara region?
Well, I think what we're going to have to see this year, I think the most important thing through all this is public safety, to make sure that our residents are going to be safe. And I believe that what's going on in the States, and you're seeing COVID continue to grow in some states, I think in the best interest of the safety of the residents of my riding, it's good that the border is going to stay closed until it is safe. The second part of that is that we're going to have more domestic shop local, buy local, and have maybe 4 to 6 hour here. If you took a look at this weekend, Niagara Lake was extremely busy this weekend. Niagara Falls was extremely busy this weekend. I talked to some of the local restaurants, and they said their takeout was very good this weekend. People are going to come to Niagara Falls. People are going to come to Niagara Lake. They love coming down here. It's beautiful. And so I really don't have a concern on tourists coming back. I just want to make sure that they come back and it's safe. And that's why I made the suggestion that places like Peel, some of the other ones like Brampton that have high COVID-19, 70% of people with COVID are out of the Toronto area. I'm hoping going forward there, we're very careful on who comes here to Niagara. We want to make sure our residents are safe. And we have to make sure that our businesses are taken care of, small and medium-sized businesses, and get people back to work. That's the most important thing. We've got the CERB, which is an issue, as you know, runs out in a couple of weeks. And a lot of the people that got laid off, quite frankly, out of this industry, the tourist industry, had already used up some of their EI time because of, it's a kind of seasonal, so they do have some layoffs during the winter months. So we got to make sure that if they don't get called back, because they're not going to call everybody back, that the CERB is extended. It's because we really haven't used this, sir. 90% of our workers have been laid off. It's got to be extended at least for another 3-4 months to make sure that our employers can take advantage of that as well.
Well said, Wayne, and great place to end this interview. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you. Take care.